relating to the missile attack here in Poland. And so I thought I'd bring you up to news with some things which have been reported here, so you're hearing it now, possibly a few seconds before you'll hear it from CNN, Sky News, and everybody else. So, in the last few minutes, a Polish military team has turned up in Przewodów, and they are now looking at the wreckage and the damage and which is there, just trying to identify obviously what the equipment used was. Oh, sorry, before I go any further, as it's a live chat, please keep any comments as always suitable for appropriate. So we're of course unable to say what it is, but having thought about this situation, I've now come to two potential possibilities the way things could actually work out. Now, in the first case, I believe this to be an accident. I don't believe it to be deliberate. The reason I believe it to be an accident is because of it just doesn't make sense for Russia to try to get more people involved. Now, what the Russians will probably do, however, is they will deny it. But you cannot deny it. So what they will then do is they'll go down this fake road. They'll get their trolls, their armies of trolls, for which they're paying people 4,800 euros a month to, and they will have them putting out information that this is a Ukrainian missile. That's what they will say. I mean, there were some people in the earlier live stream I did claiming that, well, maybe it was a Ukrainian missile which knocked the Russian missiles off. Of course, they ended up exploding in Poland. I don't know if that's possible or not, or maybe I've been watching too much snooker. The most sensible course of action for the Russian leadership to take is the following, and that is to say, yes, it was us, it was an accident, we apologize for it, and we will be making a 7-figure compensation, and maybe the same cost as what these two missiles cost, somewhere between 3 and 20 million euros to pay to the families of the people who were killed, something along those lines. That would be the appropriate way. If they start saying it's a fake, then we don't know. There's no doubt, I think now, that this was a Russian strike. I saw some evidence which has been evidence is the right word. Some suggestions based on that it was a Russian caliber missile, cruise missile, which did it. The thing is that as things stand, I was unable at this present time. It's now 10:45 or thereabouts here in Poland. We normally when missiles are fired, then they know where they're fired from. I've been in two bombardments in Ukraine. Once it was fired from Brest in Belarus, and the second time it was fired over the Black Sea, the missiles. That I found that out the following day. I didn't find out immediately. They didn't come with a sort of a sign saying fired from Belarus written on them. Anyway, so that's number one. Number two, and this is a far more dangerous option, and this, having said this, based on previous Russian behavior, it's a test. It's a test to see what they can get away with. Hitler did it. Hitler did it several times. For example, the reoccupation of the Rhineland, that was a test to see if there'd be any reaction to him, and he kept doing these tests. Now, and Ewan here writes, we've already seen the poor accuracy of Russian ordnance and their ability to fall well away from the targets. Look at the hits in Belgorod and Bryansk, their missiles to even get to Ukraine. Yeah, okay, well, there's a very good example. Belgorod is, what, about 60, 70 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. So yeah, so that's an example. And I mean, the example in my own case, when these cruise missiles came down in a field which was about 5 kilometers from where I was, and I presumably they're aiming at the field. I don't know what they were aiming at, as the Russian military doesn't share its information with me. But anyway, Dave thinks it's a test, and Ewan thinks it's Russian incompetence. My bet also is that it's Russian incompetence. It was a foul up. And so this really now depends on the intelligence of the Russians to actually how they actually deal with this. Because if they, as I said, if they start dealing with it, trying fake and all this other nonsense, there were Ukrainian missiles or whatever, or it was the Poles who did it. There's another one they'll probably claim, or it was the Americans. That's probably what they're saying, Rassia Zim right now, or RT, something along those lines. But if they tell the truth, then it would be, I think, better for everyone, including those Russian soldiers on the ground who are likely to find themselves getting killed as a result of this. Ewan says a new no-fly zone needs to be set up in Western Ukraine, especially sheer number of missiles that are firing. Yeah, actually, I saw somebody who clearly didn't like a comment he made. Clearly doesn't like the current government in Poland, but he said the following: said that. Words to this effect that the Ukrainians shoot down 70% of the missiles fired at them, and yet the Polish government failed to two that were fired here. Well, it's hardly the fault of the Polish government. The town bang on the border, and I mean, it hit them before they came down. But yes, there is a certain amount of logic to this that we need to have. We need to take our defenses further to the east, and so if we can knock out the enemy missiles which are coming hitting us, we therefore need a no-fly zone over Western Ukraine. And yeah, so Dave says that the Russians are claiming it's a Western provocation. So this does actually now, if they start saying things like this, even though they know the truth, then they that does start to show it's like a test. And in this case, as a test, then we need to be utterly determined and to show that. Now, what could we do? Well, first thing, so we can start supplying stuff, longer range missiles, which so far have been denied the Ukrainians. For example, I mean, when there was the attack on the Kerch Bridge, and I continue to say that I don't believe it was a I don't believe it was a cruise missile. I still believe it was an accident, to be quite honest. But yeah, but they need to, because it's outside the range of Ukrainian cruise missiles. But we need to take this now away. The Ukrainians need to have the possibility of hitting targets inside Russia. It's absurd to think that the enemy can launch missiles from the safety, knowing that Ukrainians can't respond. So this is one thing. They need to have the ability to hit targets which are firing at them. So what the situation now, there's Russian artillery inside Russia, and the Ukrainians cannot hit it. So that's number one thing that they need to have. They need to have permission to do with NATO weapons. That's the second thing is supplying of more aircraft. And speed up deliveries. Other thing, we need to knock out these missiles. I mean, they can't start if the enemy thinks they can start knocking out, murdering civilians. Now, it needs to be pointed out that today there was the largest ever aerial attack, terrorist attack coming from Russia since this war began. And I've forgotten exactly how many cruise missiles hit. But in any case, Russia must be really getting low on its stocks. But in for example, if these missiles are being fired from aircraft which are taking off from Saratov, have a look on the map where Saratov is. It's on the Volga. It's a very long way. Then they're flying over the Black Sea and launching them from there, from international waters. Then the Ukraine must have the capacity of, I mean, maybe knocking out Saratov airport is probably a bit too far, but it must have the capacity of knocking out Russian equipment wherever it may be. So anyway, so I wanted to sort of give the news as before I go to bed, and so thanks very much for being with me. I wanted to put the two things over. If this is a test, as it looks like it could be with the information that was just given now, that the Russians are claiming it's a fake. There are plenty of Russian trolls. I was just reading one now. He is Polish. He writes, well, it's not Polish. He wrote in very good Polish, putting out stuff anti-Ukrainian and claiming this was a Ukrainian missile. I looked at some of the other things he claimed in the past as well. He's one of these people who claims that it was the Ukrainians bombarding the Donbass which made the caused this invasion to happen in the first place. This type of nonsense. So anyway, so that's how I see it at present. Thanks very much for being with me this late. And should anything else happen in Poland, which I think is not in the international news, then I'll actually say it for those who are watching this for the first time. I actually live in Poland. I'm British, but I live in Poland, and I speak Polish fluently. And I have been to Ukraine several times now during this war. Okay. Thanks, and I shall be there in 2 days' time. Thanks for being with me, and good night. It's 11. No, it's not. What's the time? It's nearly 11. It's well past my bedtime. Thanks for being with me. All the best. Bye. Oh, sorry, some comments I didn't see. Sorry. Everyone keep calm. Russian incompetence. What's the point of picking a fight with NATO? Sorry, that was the point I really wanted to make. There is no point in picking a fight with NATO. They can't beat Ukraine. All right? You can't beat Ukraine, so you don't take on a new enemy. Anyway, so good night anyway. Thanks. Bye. Still on. That's it. Off.